Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. As the World Championship approaches, there's been a lot of discussion about gentlemen's agreements as of late and some of the decisions that have been made by the pros so far in this season. A lot of pros are talking about the fact that yes, we don't agree with how these GAs have been handled at all. The pros have maybe got soft over these last couple of seasons and changes they would like to see going into CoD Vanguard. Intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, I wanted to mention this from Octane. Did everyone stop playing Cold War already? I can't even find a hardpoint to play. Here he is sitting in of course, a Modern Warfare game. Oh wait, I know one that no one was on. But yes, does raise the question, what are people going to be playing in the off-season, right? Because Modern Warfare, to be fair, like Octane got a lot of good YouTube content out of playing like the CDL playlist or whatever it was, where it was effectively just pubs, but you could use like fun weapons and attachment combos and stuff like this, and have some pretty good YouTube content. Not really possible to do to the same degree in the current league play we have in Cold War. And to be fair, it's expected that this new title, CoD Vanguard, is going to play very similar to Modern Warfare. It's going to play somewhat similar probably to the original World War II, made by Sledgehammer of course, but played on the same engine as Modern Warfare. They certainly want the crossover to be there nicely between Warzone and World War II Vanguard, or just Vanguard or whatever it's going to be called nowadays, and even though set maybe just after World War II. I forget exactly how it's going to go. I just want it to be a good game at the end of the day. But still, it seems like some Octanes may be considering, okay, do we go back to Modern Warfare for the off-season? Do we go back to World War II? Like, what game do we play for the off-season? Because usually that's always a big question mark. Do players just stop playing CoD entirely and go to Valorant or something for a little while, or just play Warzone, which might be a possibility. That hasn't necessarily been one in a couple of the previous off-seasons that we have had. Methods, of course, finding himself in a difficult spot. I think someone was saying something quite interesting on the Reddit yesterday. I couldn't quite find the clip. I tried to look for it in his clips from yesterday. But apparently he was talking on stream the fact that he actually got an offer earlier this season to join the subliners on their bench instead of DiamondCon or something, but he didn't think it was a good idea because Clayster was on their team, so there was no way he was getting into the lineup. If he had have taken that chance, then as things worked out, maybe he would have got to step in for the Stage 5 Major, but still, doesn't end up working out. He's still killing it on his stream right now though, which is of course great to see, but Method's in a tough spot, and understandably so. When you've got a guy like Insight dropping ridiculous numbers, we looked at a stat like this for Simp earlier today, but Insight is in a pretty similar ballpark, to be honest. A 1.14 overall KD this season, a 1.22 in Surge. This is pretty ridiculous. I remember like the first game of Search he played, or like the first series of Search he played against Los Angeles Thieves, I think, right back in Stage 2. He dropped 18 kills on the Miami Search and Destroy in the Game 5, and still I'm pretty sure ended up losing the series, or something along those lines. But yeah, this guy's obviously been pretty monstrous, and understandably that Methods is looking for other opportunities. Not too many main AR spots though left in the league at the present time, no doubt. Speaking of assault rifles, you got this that Chrome pointed out yesterday, which I thought was kind of ridiculous in a way. I know we did look at this a few days ago, but it's been found actually by this individual Freebo Clap here in a Warzone game. Managed to pick this up somehow, and here it is. You got the championship weekend viewership awards on XM4, which is just kind of funny because this has been gentlemen's agreement out of the game for a very long time at this point. Maybe they designed this ages ago, like way back in like February or whatever, when it was actually being used in competitive for Stage 1. Like, it's been 4 stages since then and it's not been used anymore, so it's honestly kind of nice, to be fair. And apparently there's signature stickers for Standy, Huke, TempZ, Paulx, Venom, Classic, Vivid, Zaptius, and Shane. Interesting, these are the ones that you get, right? Some of these being coaches, some of these being players that aren't actually going to be even competing at the World Championship. I mean, plenty of these fall into that bracket. So it does make me wonder exactly what is going on over there, but you know, to be fair, you've got to give them the benefit of the doubt, making some, at least adding some cool stuff to the game and some rewards for people to watch the World Championship, which I'm sure is going to be no doubt a good time. So there's been a lot of talk about gentlemen's agreements lately. Dashy came out and said, I mean, this is obviously a couple of months ago now, but he was talking a few days ago on the OpTic podcast, like, look, I want to bring snipers back. It's so boring without them for the fans, also for the players. Make Search and Destroy worse to play as well, because you can easily jiggle, but you don't have to worry about getting tagged up or whatever, because you're not going to get sniped. And of course, I think he'd like to see them back most certainly. He's certainly been talking about that for a while. Certainly next game called Vanguard, hopefully that is the case, because makes things a lot more entertaining to watch, I think, from the competitive Search and Destroy perspective, and probably better to play as well. But on the other side, there's also some other GAs this season which have been very controversial. We certainly talked about it earlier this season when the QBZ was getting GA'd and the XM4 and all these other discussions about the weapons, but also some of the more niche things regarding, you know, how many trophies you're allowed on the map. This is what some of the pros are talking about right now, looking back at, World War II, for example, and how good that game was, or well, at least how they were describing it as, okay, you spawned up, you had one nade, you had one tactical, you're like, you know, one Semtex, one tactical, and there were no trophies in that game. Now, people complained when that game was out, to be fair, about the nade spam was very high, but when you spawned in, or like something like that, your nades did less damage, or right at the start of the game they did less damage and this type of stuff, so maybe it wasn't absolutely the end of the world, but in this game, maybe it's gone completely the other way, and trophy systems are way too powerful, and Zero is saying, look, I think people just got way too soft. This is what he had to say in kind of a similar vein last year in May 2020 when he's like, look, I know I was King Snake back in the day, and the fact that we allow snaking is mind-blowing to me, but everyone has turned soft since that game on a number of different fronts, and especially with regard to this whole the trophy discussion that he's having right now. This I thought was kind of interesting, right? As Diamond CoD says back in July that I found UIU running 4 trophies on the map. Half these teams do apparently in the challenger scene, just completely breaking the GA. So effectively, the teams are allowed to run 3 trophies on the map. Every single trophy kills 4 projectiles, which is pretty ridiculous to be honest. Like, there's so many trophies on the map all the time that the only way to get them is to shoot them. If you have engineer, you can find them and take them out, but still, they kill so many projectiles, and like nades and stuns are effectively useless. At least back in the day, you could like throw your nade and tactical, and then it would at least destroy the trophy, because okay, let me just throw my 2 pieces of equipment, it will destroy the thing wherever it's sitting, and then we can move on and throw the other stuff that my teammates have. But it can destroy an entire team's arsenal of stuff just on these trophies that are sitting on the hill, especially if teams are breaking these gentlemen's agreements. Don't seem to be breaking these GAs in pro play, but this is what Zero has to say about players being pretty soft right now, and what changes they could make coming back to CoD Vanguard.
I will say this though, I feel like the World War II maps were way better, way smaller, and you didn't have trophies. So a lot of the time you were
working off spawn.
Picture St. Marie Lamar, like P1, yeah, that was wallbang, nades.
I think trophies make this game worse. Hot take.
You think it makes it worse?
The amount of trophies in the map at all times, yeah, I think so.
I think 2 trophies should have been the way forward.
I think 3 is just way too much. I feel like there's always a trophy on the hill.
Yeah, I feel like nades aren't even like...
I feel like trophies...
They don't even come into play.
Because we had 3 trophies when smokes were in, right?
Yeah, a good point. No EMP either. So there's no way to actually counter them besides shooting them.
And you know what's also is people have like spots now where you can't even shoot them. You can't even destroy them.
Oh yeah, they're going on top of buildings that
they're
don't
like
existed.
on top of buildings, in cracks and crevices and like people got really nerdy with them. So even if you're rocking engineer, you can't do anything about it.
I actually feel like the scene turned really soft when it comes to things like that. Like we got 2 trophies that destroy 4 things. Do you know how mad that is?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's nuts. That's
you know
nuts.
how mad that is?
So this is a very old gentleman's agreement list that Chrome put together way back in December now. But as you can see, this is what it was looking like at the time. No smokes, no, Molotovs, all this type of stuff. But there was actually 2 smokes allowed in Search and Destroy at the time, which feels like a long time ago, no doubt. And snipers were just about getting GA'd at this point, and 1 sniper was allowed in Search, and eventually that disappeared. But pretty much the entire season, 3 trophies have been allowed in pro play. I'm pretty sure in the European amateur scene for a while, they were only testing out 2 trophies. So basically the other guy on your team just uses like one of the other field upgrades, but just like doesn't call it in or whatever. So 3 trophies is the gentleman's agreement, because to be fair, 4 trophies would be absolutely ridiculous on the map at all times. People would be chucking them down all across the park. Like 3 of your teammates get to run trophies. That's effectively the idea. 3 players get to run a trophy on a team, and therefore when they get their 2 trophies that they get up through the field upgrades, they can just chuck them down and have a good time about it, because the trophies are very, very strong in this game indeed. And Zero is saying, look, the pro players nowadays are just way too soft. They're too soft about all these types of things in the game, but also they're too soft about the fact, I got naded, I got stunned, therefore I'm just gonna, have all these trophies on the map to protect me from it. But actually it makes the game more tactical and more interesting from a, strategic depth perspective if trophies actually aren't as strong as they were. So just the fact that they kill 4 things in this game is pretty outrageous, I think. And whether trophies will return for the next title, you'd imagine they will do. Hopefully they won't be quite as strong. Also, the gentleman's agreements maybe need to be, more stringent in terms of how you deal with trophies. At the same time, though, the GAs were pretty stringent this season. That might be another example of, the pro players being too soft in a sense. Getting rid of snipers, getting rid of smokes, getting rid of all this other stuff you see on screen right here. That maybe that counts as too soft in the same ballpark. And thankfully, score streaks did make their return after the changes were made to them not too far into the season. So yeah, intriguing your perspective down below. What do you think should happen going forward? Are the pros getting too soft nowadays with regard to the GAs? And do you think some pros should break some GAs come to the World Championship, just like how Diamond CoD is talking about some of the amateur players doing earlier on this season? Did also want to mention this, right, because there's been a lot of talk lately about players, despite also being maybe soft in terms of the GA stuff, also not being particularly willing to go in and play 8s and play Search and Destroy chals and this type of stuff, because some players seem particularly keen to do so. Slash UITO on the 10th of August, any 8s or Search and Destroy, Center's like, yeah, might have to hook up to that one. And RC says right here as well. Interesting actually from RC is just because he's he's been on the FaZe team obviously, and earlier this season the FaZe guys have talked a fair bit about, yes, I really like playing Pro 8s because it it's bad practice, right? It gets you into bad tendencies and this type of idea. But RC seems seems kind of keen right here. Vivid says, yeah, I'm down. Slasher normally is as well. I think he makes the return to make it happen. But yeah, still interesting that some of these players never seem particularly keen to actually hop into Pro 8 all the time, especially because the countdown to the World Championship is, well, not going anywhere anytime soon, only a couple of days away. These, well, pros seem somewhat less keen than maybe you would imagine so to grind out this game really heavily before the World Championship does arrive. And this I thought was interesting as well, right? As Slasher says to Nameless, the TeamSpeak is officially dead broke. This never would have happened on your watch back in the day when you were competing. You think you may be the only person who could save it. A shame to see what they've done to the OG culture, bro. We used to have 8s popping until 4 AM with actual beef in there, deep chats about life, new Jenna just laying in bed, scrolling Twitter, making TikTok dance vids, still us, bro. It's actually sad to see. It's not the same anymore. I absolutely miss it. It'll have to return for the off-season, says, well, Nameless. Maybe he'll be making the return to, well, the Pro League or something along those lines going forward as well. And just to finish off with this, right, I thought it was pretty ridiculous. If you guys haven't, well, seen this before, this is what Kenny considers to be his best clutch moment in his career. And this is a pretty OG one, right? Given we were talking about World War II and CoD Vanguard and, you know, what could potentially happen going forwards, there's, of course, nades and stuns always flying in this game. And it did mean that you had to be pretty precise with how you throw them, because nowadays, wherever you throw these nades and stuns, they're just going to get blocked by a trophy regardless. Especially because, like, you can put the trophies in positions that block things. Like, there's certain hills on these games, right, where you can just put the trophy in a spot where you can't even shoot it, you can't even see the thing, and it's so tough to take down. And, well, this is what happened back in the good old days, I suppose, with chaos all over the map. But yeah, this was World War II, if you guys are new to this clip, where Kenny really came on the scene, right? And back in these days, he used to use the SMG, used to use the PPSH, and this was an absolutely ridiculous game to beat Echo Fox, well, in this map for Gibraltar Hardpoint. Not the prettiest hardpoint map, I think, in the world, at least in terms of how it played, but certainly had some great moments on it, such as this, as Kenny manages to drop 44 kills to take the win in the end. Honestly, there were so many engagements in that game compared to today that it was a good time. Maybe we'll get the same thing here in CoD Vanguard. But intriguing your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube. I'm gonna know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
What is your best clutch moment since you become a pro?
It's my 4-piece on Gibraltar.
A couple more ticks and no one can win after this hard point. No one can win it here now. Let's take a look at middle. Look, it's all going to be Echo Fox here. 244, 247, Echo Fox in the hard point.
3 seconds left for Echo Fox to close us out. Coming in from the top, it's Kenny. Kenny fights 2 from the bridge, fights the 3rd as well, but inside the hard point, it's Aqua. It's a 1-on-1. Aqua versus Kenny. Kenny wins it. Kenny wins it. He wins the game. A 1 second hard point game. TK do it again.
Kenny kills all 4 and gets the final.